Is this Kevin?
This is Doc Waterman.
Hey, Dr. Waterman. This is Joe Joseph. It's wonderful to finally be able to speak to you.
Thank you.
Hello, John. This is Griff in Virginia. Nice to hear your voice.
Yeah, hi, Griff. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Welcome to the show tonight. We're going to have interesting conversation, I know.
Now, these Gulf residents down there, I know that one of our sister shows here on the Interhub Radio Network is Project Gulf Impact, and they've been doing a lot of research down in the Gulf, and they actually sent some blood samples off to the lab to be tested, and they tested positive for chemicals. And right now, while we're talking, I'm trying to research what the heck they are, but I can tell you that this stuff is accumulating in their bloodstream, and causing some major problems. And now, what do you think the long-term impact of this is going to be on people? Do you kind of see this, Doc, as something akin to, say, 9/11 after, the towers fell and they said the air is safe to breathe? Was it really safe to breathe? No, it wasn't safe to breathe. And that's the reason why they have a fund set up for first responders now that all have mesothelioma and respiratory illnesses because it wasn't safe to breathe. And what about like the Exxon Valdez? All the people that suffered from being exposed to dispersants and crude oil for so long. So, I mean, what do you think the long-term effects are going to be for all these people that live in the Gulf region?
Well, it's been 9 years since 9/11, and across my desk, because of some of the other companies that I have, across my desk are information still of court cases where they're going like you talk with first responders, dipping into that fund, and they're sick and they can't get well. It's going to go on from now on till all of them are dead. That's what's going to happen. Now, in this region of the world, this Corexit is a poison, but I'm going to kind of go into this a little bit different than maybe you've ever heard. Now, some of that information that you've already heard, you probably know, is the fact that some of this kind of chemical you can find in Windex for cleaning the windows, and Simply Green or Simple Green that cleans a general purpose cleaner. So we've been exposed to this kind of stuff, but not at the levels and not in the area of our body. That's why you're told, do this in a well-ventilated area and so forth. Yeah, we've been exposed to it, but not in the quantities that's going on. And if you can take those kind of cleaners and clean the bugs off the counter, everybody says, well, what's going on with these chemicals in the ocean? Well, here's what's going on. In the training that I've had, which was European biological medicine, we have this understanding that's outside the existing medical model that microbes can morph. They can change. And, when I first heard this, I didn't believe it either, because here I am sitting there with a well-known research and practitioner, medical director of a hospital in Switzerland, telling me that viruses turn into bacteria and bacteria turn into fungus and so forth, or fungi. And you sit there and you go, oh, there's no way. Well, there was this fellow by the name of Dr. Enderlin who researched that for 40 years and has 6,000 volumes of information in Germany that proves that is the case. And what's going on in the Gulf is we have bacteria, and it can morph for three reasons. It can morph because it's attacked by a virus. Say a bacteria can get infiltrated by a virus. The virus can change the genetics of the bacteria so that it morphs into something very deadly. Another way that it can change is through chemicals. Chemicals can then get inside the bacteria and genetically change it through chemistry. And that's exactly what's going on right now with Corexit. It's chemically changing the bacteria in the Gulf, and we really don't know what we're going to come up with, except that we know that they can survive change, and some of them are going to become very, very deadly. I mean, I'm talking about Ebola deadly. Now, Ebola is a virus, but it can become deadly, and bacteria can kill you just as viciously as that if they're the right kind. Now, when you've got a morphed bacteria that gets airborne on top of it, now we're going to start seeing it go from person to person. So we're virtually on the verge of something that could end up becoming a deadly pandemic. And, you know, when we start seeing that kind of thing going where you don't get any information from any reports about morphing of the genes of a virus or bacteria until you get up, say, into Oklahoma or Arkansas, I know then for sure they're hiding the information in the southern states because it's not showing up. And why I'm saying that is because on Recombinomics, the site that talks where we have a constant report of what happened, like, for example, with H1N1, and then the morphing of it that occurred in the Ukraine into a deadlier, more deadly virus that didn't seem to get very far, but now we have this one in that has just now popped up in India, and there are over 600 anthrax cases there. There is a new super bacterial bug that if it gets loose, it could be as deadly as Ebola. Now, cooking in the Gulf Stream could be the morphing of these bacteria, and when they genetically, by just the roll of the dice, change into something extremely deadly, we're going to be in trouble. Now, this does, people go, well, if it kills bacteria, why isn't it killing the bacteria in the Gulf? Well, it does kill the bacteria in the Gulf, and it just depends on how much Corexit comes in contact with it and where the bacteria is. Now, the bacteria that's the most deadly is the kind, and sometimes even the viruses, that don't need any oxygen, are on the bottom. They're right smack on the bottom of the floor of the Gulf. And they'll have the thickest cell wall membranes to be able to survive the pressure, as well as the fact that they can't get as penetrated by as much Corexit. So instead of killing the microbe, it will morph it. If those get loose and they're deadly, we're in for a lot of trouble. We only think we've got trouble. It could erupt into something horrible, and they could have already known that was the case. They had to know.
That's extremely interesting and something that I had never even thought to take into consideration.